You're watching Wartscenter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wartscenter, your show, one-stop shop for all things in the NKBBL. As always, I'm your host, Brand Bauger, joined, as always, by Tanaka, Dimitri Lund, and Koba. How's everyone doing? Wonderful. And we have a special guest today, but I know nothing about this thing. So our special guest, please introduce yourself. Tell us, who are you, what are you, and why are you here?
I know it may be hard to see from here, but on me, random numbers, giving me a number because I haven't been actually drafted yet. Will draft me. I'm hoping for number 69 because.
Understood. So you're a snotling, is what I'm gathering.
Oh yes.
All right, great.
Yes.
Well, welcome aboard, number 69.
He's really down there.
Yeah, you won't see him. He's actually under the desk, so it's fine.
He's so far down there, I can barely hear him with my monkey
Yep.
ear.
I like to think my profile picture is just barely like the top of my head, like peering over.
Oh.
Enjoy.
All right. Well, distractions aside, we had another week of Blood Bowl. We had a big week of Blood Bowl. So let's break it down. Week 7 happened, and the New England Matriarchs defeat the Rothlegion Rampage 3-0. The Los Alamos Aliens pull out a gritty win against the Northport Brainwave Blitzers 1-0. The Antekin Kings and the Wildwood EU come away with a draw. Shocking stuff there with a lot of casualties from the Antekin side. They seem to have finally broken that Pillow Hands curse. The San Francisco Legions tally, I believe, their first win against the Orlando Orcas. And the SCLSU Mudclaws defeat the Guttersburg Rebels in a divisional bout. And you saw it here live, well, most of it. Number 69 was chewing on our cord, so that's why we lost the audio on the first few turns, but he's paying his dues. But you saw most of the match as the Slam Diego Charges take down the undefeated Vermin Skulkers. What's the recap from the desk? Thoughts, feelings about week 7?
Despite the fact that my opponent lost to me 3 tutties to nothing, I just wanted to give a shout out to the coach of the Orlando Orcas for playing a great defense all the same.
They were all fantastic games. Them seem to have been all around, and everybody seemed to be having a wonderful time.
It was a really good week of Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
All these matches were nutty. So hats off to a good week 7.
Yeah. Real big shout out to the Antekin Kings for putting up a big fight against a very well-prepared Wildwood team. And I guess it's either fortune or misfortune that Wildwood finds a way to walk away with a point in every game they play with, even if it's just another tie against a team that is, not to their offense, but at the bottom of the table. Still a good showing from both of them. And even more so, a big game for the Matriarchs, going 3-over on the Rampage. Rampage couldn't get anything rolling, and the Matriarchs still looking like a possible contender for the championship here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot of shaking and moving in the top 3 after this week as the Matriarchs get that win, sneak up to number 2 in the overall standings. The Charges find themselves at the top of the Bowl Division and the top of the total leaderboard. And the Skulkers, despite the loss, still sitting pretty at number 3. So very good week of Blood Bowl. And with that, we have a whole week of stats. And we're going to talk about how Longshank Stilltail can do nothing and still remain on the top. Player of the week this week was Sonia the Dancer, coming away with 13 SPP, I believe 3 touchdowns and the MVP on her stat sheet in that big win. And in terms of total SPP, Longshank Stilltail sits pretty at 65. Did get the touchdown, so is still progressing. Just behind her with the big win, Sonya the Dancer jumps up into that silver spot, and Warfius, he's in the hunt there with the bronze. And in terms of touchdowns, Longshank's up to 19, Sonya right behind him with 10, and Warfius and Timothy the Voidwalker at 7. So it's an interesting parallel. Usually because touchdowns are worth more, that also mimics the total SPP leaderboard. But it'll be interesting to see how some rule changes next season, like Brawling Brutes, changes how both of those leaderboards look. In terms of passes, Juniper Mammoth leads the league with 11, Dr. Zayas at 9, and Morpheus Trench Venom Fang at 7. And then for catches, Timothy the Voidwalker, Long Shanks down to 6, and Tad Lateness, Cornelius II, Gordy II, Joaquin Branch, and Maple Moss at 4, a somewhat distant bronze. All right, no change in the Superb Throw teammate leaderboard. However, and it is one of my notes for the head-to-heads, these two teams play each other. So the Throw Bowl is on. But also, you'll notice that there is a fun addition to the bottom of our graphic here. Hawaiian Pizza gets an interception. Alan picks off, I believe, NASCAR Jaw Blitzer, Tanaka.
Yes, I got the match side report on that one. NASCAR Jaw Blitzer, in an attempt to get a second touchdown to Warpheus on turn 16, manages to not only throw an inaccurate pass, but throw an inaccurate pass to Hawaiian Pizza.
What a throw.
Someone caught it.
Yeah, that
Really
throw's
bunged
got
that one up.
hands. Just goes to show pineapple does, in fact, belong on pizza.
Let's go.
All right, in terms of casualty, Ulrich Doom Ripper remains at the top. Squeak Spinetail, despite the fact of not getting any casualties last week, still is in the silver spot with 7. And the triumvirate of Diablo Zod, Tears the Invoker, and Lightning Tom in the 3rd place spot with 6 casualties. As for fouls, there was not a lot of changes. Farmer Fran still, since the beginning, has stayed at the top of this list. Bark with the silver, and a whole host of players with the bronze. Notable add, there was only one foul this week, so Loktar Ra from the Antekan Kings was the only foul addition to this leaderboard. In terms of kills, same thing, Farmer Fran, he's been at 2 from very early on, and then a whole host of players at 1 with no additional kills this week, which means no obituaries. So, for better or for worse?
For worse, for the blood god.
Indeed.
Got it.
All right, just a quick glance at our fantasy football players and their leaderboards. So Longshank Steeltail puts up a touchdown and is still well above the rest of the competition. Sonia the Dancer has a good week and finds herself at number 2. And then just below that, Timothy the Voidwalker quite a bit below, down at 50, and then a whole host of undrafted players beyond Ulrich Doom Ripper. All right, so we've not done this in a few weeks, but we'll do a brief around the league as the NKBBL is going on tour yet again. But first, we'd like to take this time to thank our Week 8 sponsors. The Wartscenter is sponsored by Chuck Geiger Cigars. Taste the difference. Necrosoft. Beat What's Next. And Bloodbath and Beyond. Bladed, blunt, barbaric. We've got you covered. All right. Where can you see the NKBBL this week? Well, it's in the Blackstone Desert in Calzord, apologies. Also, the same location which the Burning Bone Festival is happening. So it's a desert location, so make sure to bring your sunscreen and your wide-brimmed hats. And as for the weather forecast, we're hearing mostly good weather, but there's a chance for some sweltering heat, a really high sunny, and some gusts of winds, and a possible sandstorm. So be on the lookout for that. Also notable, this stadium is known for its fickle fans. So in between drives, there is a 1 in 6 chance that the fan or a couple thousand fans walk out on the players. And they're known for playing their own form of Blood Bowl if they ever get a ball in their hands. 50-50 shot that they do not throw the ball back immediately in the event that it goes off the pitch. So it'll be an interesting, friendly match, and we look forward to debuting in the Blackstone Desert. If you would like your news and notes featured on Around the NKBBL, please at me. I was gonna say contact Wartscenter, but there's no contact. You just let me know.
I often corner him in the bathroom and get him to invest in my gambling deals.
Yes. And Koba notably doesn't respect the stall etiquette. He always takes the one right next to you.
I don't understand the stalls to begin with, but everyone seems to be having a good time in there.
Yeah. Anyway, no, alleged. Let's take a look at the team standings. In the Blood Division, the Matriarchs remain number 1 after a big division win, putting themselves at 12 points and clinching a playoff berth. The Los Alamos Aliens get it done against the Blitzers and jump them for the number 2 spot. The Blitzers go down 1 after the loss. The Eldar United jump into the playoff picture with a tie, and then the Wrath Legion Rampage fall to the hunt status at 5. And despite the tie, Antekan Kings still remain in 6th. In the Bowl Division, a lot of movers and shakers in the top 4. The Slam Diego Chargers, since they defeated the Vermin Skulkers, find themselves in the number 1 spot in the driving seat with 12 points, clinching playoffs. The Skulkers just behind them at number 2, and the Mudclaws and Guttersburg Rebels flip in the standings after the Mudclaws defeat Guttersburg. And then the Legion keep that number 5 spot hot over the Orcas. All right. From each of the squads, here are the updates that we have received from each team. So Amon-Ra Bones, despite the valiant tie, finds himself armor busted and missing at least a game. Abata Khan picks up on the ball. Hey, there we go. Boney Sandstorm picks up tackle. And for the Guttersburg Rebels, they're going to have to do it without a couple of goblins as Plart, Boot, and Trapezoid are missing. However, Funk Flint Reaver picks up 2 heads. So, when you start to see the Blodge 2 heads on a Gutter Runner, that's when we start to see the magic happen. So exciting stuff there.
Your lineage is back in the bloodline.
Yep. So we're looking to see some massive production from him towards the back quarter of this season. For the Los Alamos Aliens, no changes. They're sitting at a ripe 1565. So what do you think, Tanaka? Are they fully built?
One to look out for is Warfius. He's about 3 SPP away from a chosen primary, which would get him to level 7. So potential Hall of Fame status after this week. Wow,
man! Just think if he had a good first 3 weeks.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
All right, the new report: Brainwave Blitzers they hire another vampire runner, M. Mala. Sound familiar? We'll have to get details on.
Hold on. I have to go check the burial plots immediately.
Yeah. We'll have to go get details on how this vampire was raised. However, Morpheus picks up Pro, and they're going to have to get it done this week without Corden Blue, who is missing next game. For the Matriarch, Sonia the Dancer, after a massive week, picks up the Movement 8. So one of those blitzers, Movement 8, hit and run, sidestep. She's moving and becoming a very scary player for the Matriarchs. Thalia Bright Moon picks up Sure Feet. Toxophile Hunters picks up Nerves of Steel. And a new tribal line woman has been added to the roster. They do find themselves at a full 7 dedicated fans, the highest that we have in the league right now. So this is essentially the people's team. And they also pick up an assistant coach and a cheerleader. For the Orlando Orcas, finally, we're starting to see some good depth of development from the Orcas. As Trua picks up guard, Orchid picks up strip ball, Tuar picks up dirty player, Sakari's got kick, and Tillicum now with tackle. However, they're going to have to go this week without one of their big uns, as Katina is missing next game. And for the Wrath Legion Rampage, a smattering of random skills from what I understand, but not a lot of difference in what was rolled in those skills, as Thunder Branch picks up Pile Driver, Jumbumbus picks up Pile Driver, Jangles picks up Pile Driver, and Ron Steiger picks up Nerves of Steel. So that is actually very valuable for the thrower. Look forward to seeing him sling some throws in the midst of danger. Horace Pringle picks up Sprint, and Joe Nochi picks up Defensive. And for the San Fran Caesars Legion, not a lot of changes. Sorry, Koba. They were the reports were saying that the assistant coach and the cheerleaders were acquired this week. However, that was a clerical error.
Yes.
Rest
Cleric
in
Al
peace.
will pay for his crimes in hell.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's like when somebody gets fired, you can blame them for everything that went wrong. The Cleric
But
Al
as
error
Cleric
for
Al
sure.
passed away in his sleep, allegedly in his prison cell,
Yes.
he can burn in hell,
All
where
right,
he made
all
those
right.
errors.
We got to move on. The SC LSU Mud Claws. Mama picks up guard. And Mr. Coach Klein's wife picks up sidestep. So the skinks are getting slippery, and we love to see it. From the Chargers camp after the big win, Gate Smasher picks up strip ball, and Philip Reavers, after a pair of touchdowns, picks up block. Not a ton of change for this number one squad. As for the Vermin Skulkers, they took a bit of a beating. So there was a few firings and rehirings that happened, but they had the cash. They had planned for this. Stretch Sneak Claw is going to be missing next game, unfortunately, but he does pick up tackle in the meantime. And Radicate will be missing, unable to kick those sweet kickoff balls that we're used to from the Skulker squad. Squeak Spinetail picks up tackle, and Tretch Venomfang picks up extra arms. So he's already been a dangerous thrower. You know him, you love him, but with the extra arms now, he's just that much more deadly. They do hire 2 new clan rats, Scotch Claw Chewer and Rat Master. And lastly, for the Wildwood Eldar United, not a lot of change in terms of skills. However, they're going to have to get it done with a pretty short roster this week, as Jay Elderberry, Woodland Stump, Thorn, and Bloom are all missing next game. All right, let's get to the picks. But in the meantime, we're getting this race is getting really tight.
Wow.
I say Dimitri had a maybe your worst pick'em week all year, with only like 50% of the matches correctly picked, and Tanaka capitalized. He's caught up.
Yeah,
And there's and I know
there were
already.
some risky ones last time.
Yeah, for sure. But I will say there is one match coming up with the picks that I've seen where it's I think it might be the make or break one for this little race we got going on.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. But without further ado, let's talk matchups for Week 8. Now, they are friendly, so there's not as much fun discussion in terms of playoff implications and things like that. I don't believe any sort of major clinching can happen this week, since none of them count towards divisional points. But we'll still go through and see how these teams are faring and what we expect to see. So the Matriarchs take on the Mud Claws. Tanaka, who do you have in this one?
Well, I want to start by saying the desk. We know ball. We all know ball pretty well. Even Koba's not too far off. He's not too far off.
No.
But I saw Brown Gauger right on our heels, so it's gonna be down to the wire, I think, by the end of the season. So,
yep.
Good ball knowledge all around.
I'll have to do the math on what the percentage is, but I believe it's pretty high. I don't know how many matches we've played, but to have a good breadth of them done, like successfully picked, is impressive.
That is, I was gonna say these are that's awesome to see. Okay, I'll try to keep it quick because I think this would be one of the best matches of the week, actually. We're looking at Fast and Evasive versus Fast and Bloody, as you can see with the 2 kills here. I really think this match will be decided by a handful of blocks for the overall balance of play. So we know the Matriarchs, they're really low event game. They have all that dodge. Meanwhile, their speed is just hard to match. Obviously, they got that 8 speed. Sonya the Dancer now.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, Mudclaws just came off a statement win against the Rebels, and they're looking to capitalize and build that momentum towards the end of the season. They have the strength. They also have the speed. But I'm looking at the weather. I think if the weather happens, especially those bad forecasts about sweltering heat, that could sway this game in a big way. Either way, I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I think it's going to be 3-2 New England Matriarchs.
Ignore that. Flip the 2. It's okay. It'll be fine.
What did you do?
I will explain in like maybe 3 minutes. Dimitri, who you got?
I actually share a lot of sentiments with Tanaka on this one, and it is definitely going to be a game. SCLSU finally getting a little bit of traction coming off of a big win against Scuttersburg. But I mean, they're going up against a heavyweight here right now. The Matriarchs in their second season. Sonya Dancer looking to fill the big shoes that come from an MVP on their roster last season. Hard to keep Chase with someone like Longshanks in the picture, but I mean, in any other season, you'd be looking at Sonya in the MVP role potentially. This Matriarchs team is going to be tough to beat, plain and simple. I think SCLSU is definitely going to put up a fight, but I have to stick with how good the Matriarchs have been. I still think that this team could very, very convincingly be a finalist, if not a champion. I have Matriarchs actually winning this one 2-1. I think the Mudclaws will slow them down a little bit. Yeah, we got flip-flops, Tanaka. Yeah, I think the Mudclaws will slow down the Matriarchs enough, but I think the Matriarchs have I wouldn't say more complete game, but I think a play style that will keep them ahead of the Mudclaws at most turns.
Perfect. Yeah, and here's hoping. I really hope this isn't every prediction, or else someone in our staff is getting fired. Oh, but who you got?
I have the Matriarchs, and I have them winning 2-1. Now, as I won't bore you with the details, Amazon's legs are long. Therefore, they will score more than the short lizard legs. You may continue, Brand.
Clear. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that the Matriarchs are the only other 6-0-1 team right now. With that tie shared between the number one team, Charges. They're elite, and I think they get it done here. And with Sonya the Dancer, I think they start to actually score more. So I've got them 3-1. Snotling 69. What about you, buddy? Who you got in this one? I don't know if you can fully hear you.
He's too low to the damn ground.
Yeah, here, get this man a mic. It was very muffled. The mic goes in front of your face, not in your mouth.
Yeah, you gotta stop filleting it. I don't want to know what they're doing over in the Snotling camp next door.
I'm not best if they don't appreciate it.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, I can hear you a little better now. Who are you taking?
Hard to say. I do like both of these coaches, and I like both of these teams a lot. Know that the Matriarchs have demonstrated so far this season that they are absolutely a top contending team. Not to take anything away from the Mudclaws, but I don't know. I think these Matriarchs will probably take the win. Unless the Mudclaws can really come in and do some heavy damage early on to really Matriarchs on the defensive. I don't know. It's possible to go with at least a 3-2, possibly a 3-1 victory for the Matriarchs.
All right.
Some blood and fouls on the Mudclaws.
There always are. Great. This is the thing we do now.
Yeah, I was very concerned when I saw the Snotling on the floor today, and now I'm equally concerned.
Listen, we are an equal opportunity employer here at Wartscenter.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Too many mushrooms.
You can never have enough.
They're always doing mushrooms. For that, am I right, fellas?
Absolutely right. Anyway, next up, we've got the New Report Brainwave Blitzers taking on the Slam Diego Charges. Tanaka, who you got in this one?
Real quick, 69, do you have any mushrooms to share? Okay, my picks. Well, this game, spoiler, is our match of the week for a good reason. This is another top team versus top team matchup. We have the newly crowned first overall team in the Slam Diego Charges facing off against Neroport, who are still in the top 4 despite a surprising, in my opinion, loss last week. This is going to be a tough one, I think, regardless of the numbers we're seeing here. I mean, the addition of the second catcher, I think, might help push the speed factor, the scoring factor for the Blitzers. However, Slam Diego has held the fastest team in the league to a single score last week, and Los Alamos walked out with a bloody win after a high casualty match. And who's the other team with the higher casualty rate in this season? It's Slam Diego. So I think this will be pretty bloody. If they can copy the plays and the success of previous weeks, I think they'll walk out of this with a win. I'm predicting a 2-1 victory for Slam Diego.
Perfect. Thank you. Dimitri, what's your take?
I have to give my flowers to Neuroport. This is a team that is run by a coach that is notorious for going toe-to-toe with some of the best that the NKBBL has ever had to offer. It is going to be, I think, a coaching battle more than anything. The Blitzers have shown flashes of absolute brilliance. They even held their own in the Week 1 game against the Skulkers. Definitely showing that they have a lot to bring to the table. In that same sense, though, they're now going up against another heavyweight in the Chargers, and the Chargers have been a very good team. I don't know if the speed is going to necessarily be the equation, because we've seen that the Chargers know how to slow down the literal fastest man on the pitch this season. But the Blitzers strategically, if they can, piece together a game, they're going to put up a really good fight. I don't know if it's going to be bloody, but if things go Neuroport's way, it very well could be very bloody. All that in mind, I have to ride the hot hand, as the case often is. I'm going to take Slam Diego 2-1, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if Neuroport pulls off a big upset this week.
Koba, what about you?
I was questioned intensely about this by my staff, and I have to stand on business. We here in San Fran do not appreciate the Brainwave Blitzers for resurrecting our fallen comrade, Monsieur Mala. And now, for that reason alone, I'm handing this one to the Chargers 2-1.
All right. Interesting.
If this goes any other way, I will freak out. I will not say chimp out, as that is offensive.
I was going to say, that was rather tame of you, Koba.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
All right. Okay. So I did want to note, I was the only one to pick the Chargers win right last week, so I feel like now you guys are on my level. I also think Slam Diego is going to get it done, but by no means do I think this one will be easy. I put both casualty numbers on the board here for us today, specifically because I think that is going to be the difference. They both have elite casualty causing ability. And I think this will be like a war of attrition between the two squads. But I do see it going 2-0 in favor of the Chargers, with just the reasoning of, like you said, Dimitri. The only squad to limit the Skulkers to less than a touchdown. I think it's been clear that the defense has been there for Slam Diego, which I will note, pitch side, it was almost a 2-0 for the Chargers. Stilltail was knocked down and the ball pounced out. However, the crowd saw it fit to throw it nearly, not exactly, but nearly right in front of Stilltail for him to just go pick it up and score later. So that's the tail behind the tape that leads me to praise this Chargers defense. All right, Snotling69, do you mind turning your mic up just a touch and tell us what you think about this match?
I can certainly try just for you.
Please. I know it's hard to get that little voice box like booming, but
I can only get so close to the mic. I can only get so close.
that's much better.
Better. You got me a little so say. It's like, as a lover of high teams and high class teams, it's gonna be a fun one to watch. As much as I love Neuroports, I'm gonna have to give it the edge to Diego Chargers. Mastery, an exceptionally fast team. I think the odds are in their favor. I think if Neuroport can come in and really use some of their unique skills, maybe shut off and deactivate a lot of that defense, the only way I could see them really coming through. Otherwise, it's a slam off, and either way is going to be fun.
Yeah, and that's a really good point from such a small snotling. Neuroport plays a different type of game. The defense has to be able to adapt to that. This is something that they have not seen yet, so there is ample opportunity for this to flip on its head. Moving forward,
Not like that stumbled his way into the studio. 69 knows ball.
He knows ball, no doubt.
Everybody in the studio knows ball.
The ball by many times.
Yeah.
I think I've seen you on the West Coast League.
Yes. All right.
The pitch one day.
Yep, we believe it. The Wildwood Eldar United take on the Orlando Orcas. Tanaka, how do you see this one shaking out?
Well, folks, Boba.
Are you okay?
I just get really angry when I see those orcas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, they did struggle against San Fran, but going on top of that, I think for this match, I think the chaos element of weather is could potentially play the biggest impact. Especially with a bash and pass focused Eldar United. If it's either too sunny or just a straight up sandstorm, Darude, we're looking at a ground game that they're not typically doing. So, and again, with a team like the Orcas, they want to play on the ground. They want to get in your face. The upset potential is in the air, but I still think Eldar can come out of this with a win, just because they do know how to score pretty much every week. So, unfortunately for the Orcas, I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Wildwood.
All right. Dimitri, what about you?
You know, Tanaka, we do have a lot of similar sentiments, but I think it's for very different reasons. You mentioned that Orlando likes to play on the ground, but last I checked, Orcas thrive much better in water. That said, the Orcas are a team that can be really up and down at any point during the season. Sometimes they really show flashes of the greatness. Orc teams in this league, Chargers being a prime example, usually tend to succeed in one capacity or another. And when it comes to the raw, bash of the ball that we see every week, the Orcas hold their own. They just, again, can't generate offense. They don't really get the ball moving forward. And I think Wildwood is a team that is obviously going to be just far more skilled in the long run. But things could get ugly for them. Wildwood, despite being an Elven team, have a habit of slowing the game down and getting into some of those same punching matches, despite being an Elven squad, which I respect full forward. I had Wildwood looking like a potential top of the table team in my preseason rankings. And despite the fact that they are sitting here at a 1-2-4 record, based on advanced analytics, they're actually one of the top 4 teams in the league right now. With that in mind, I'm only going to give them the 2-0 victory over Orlando this week. And it's just because they have a habit of slowing the game down to a more methodical play style. And that'll work against a team like Orlando. But it's not going to be enough to generate some crazy 3-0 score.
All right. Koba, what you got?
I, unsurprisingly, in putting the Wildwood Eldar United on top, I think they're going to make this a 3-0 match. Orcas are not going to do very well in this heat. We've all seen Blackfish, the documentary about SeaWorld.
They just don't have legs.
They don't. And what do trees do when exposed to the sun? They grow. So I see them growing 3 touchdowns.
All right. Great. Yeah, for me, it's I'm waiting for the day that we get the Orlando upset, right? Like, and they steal a win off somebody, because that'll be a great day in the NKBBL, and I don't think anyone will be upset about that, except for potentially their opponent, but
Right.
but maybe not even their opponent. They might also be excited. But for me, it's so hard to bet against just the 0-7-0. It's tough. Like, when you're on a slide like that, it's hard to see a way in which it does turn around. It does. It happens. I mean, the Aliens were 0-3, and now they're damn near top of the table. Like, it's just a number. It's just a statistic. But I think for me, right now it's looking like Wildwood 2-0. But I'd love to see these next few weeks something happen in Orlando worth celebrating. All right, number 69. What do you got?
This is going to be a very interesting match for sure. So I'm a big fan of those filthy elves doing their elfy thing, but really, in my nuggets that Orcas are gonna do something here. So 2-1 for the elves to win. Orcas are going to score.
Heck yeah.
Believe in them, want them down those frizzy, frilly little elves into dust and push through. That's what I don't think they'll win. All the love in the world. But
Hey, who's to say? All right, the San Fran Caesars Legion take on the Los Alamos Aliens. Tanaka, break it down for me.
Well, San Fran got their first win of the season. It was a bit late, but it still counts. However, this week they're facing a Los Alamos squad with a hot hand. They haven't lost a match outright since week 3 against the Matriarchs. Despite a generous inducement package that we see here, Los Alamos looks to continue their momentum of a rumbling and mostly stumbling 3 big guys. Both of these teams post their first shutout of the season. The question now is which one of them will potentially buckle under the sweltering heat. I'm biased. You know how I like to pick these ones. I do think Los Alamos is going to win this. I think it'll be a 2-1. I do think this will be a really good match, though.
I believe it was my pick for match of the week. Or no, it wasn't. It was my second pick for match of the week.
This was my pick for match of the week, just because when these two coaches play, it's audible.
Yeah, that is a word for it. All right, Dimitri, who do you have in this one?
Well, I had high hopes for San Fran actually earlier in the season, and it looks like they finally have put together some of that momentum towards winning. Granted, it was against the bottom of the table Orcas team. Their passing game has actually fallen off a fair bit as the season's gone on, which is something I was really excited for, even as they were struggling to start the year. With that in mind, they're going up against an alien squad that, even on a bad day, know how to eke out the win. I think that's going to be the important thing. Is this is an aliens team that is kind of the opposite end of don't know how to quit relative to how the Legion take that same phrase. Here in the desert, I don't think the Legion are going to hold up as well as the aliens, who are pretty much in their element when you consider their home venue in Los Alamos. They train for this kind of situation much better than the Legion. The Legion don't like going much further south than their coastal town. So when you take the elements and the progression of the season for both of these teams that play, I think the aliens are just way more well equipped. It's going to be 3-0.
All right. Koba, what are you going to do about this?
I've been biting my tongue, waiting in complete silence, just so that I could let you all dig yourselves a large hole. You see, San Fran's gonna win this. The aliens are gonna put up a desperate fight, but San Fran will throw ourselves into 2 touchdowns versus 1 touchdown for the aliens. This is our comeback. We're coming off of a very hot, and we're gonna continue to win in a hot.
All right, I like to see it. I like to see a little discourse. However, I think I gotta also go against you here, Koba.
All right, meet me in the parking lot. See how tough you are then.
Gladly. Yeah, I think Los Alamos, they're starting to pick up steam. Both of these teams are hitting their stride, which is good to see. But I think the aliens, their momentum has been more established over the past few weeks, where Caesar's Legion just seems like they're just starting to build it. So this will be a true test, I think, to see if San Fran is going to make something out of this season in the final 3 weeks. But for me, I've got the aliens 2-0. All right, 69. What about you?
It's going to be a good one. Simply because TV differential, that's some fun money right there, is going to be not an insignificant shift in power, depending on how the coaches like the 3 big guy lineup and contending with their so many. When it has to go with conference with a 2-1. Let's quit.
All right, you're cutting out a bit there.
You've made a powerful ally today.
yeah. Also, yeah, we need a mic check for our little friend there. He was cutting out just a touch there, but we did hear San Francisco's Legion, so I think that's all we need.
Chewing on the wire.
Please, please stop.
Tasty wire.
Yep.
It's his first time under the big lights. The anxiety gets to everyone.
Yeah, I totally understand. All right, the Vermin Skulkers look for a bounce back against the Antekan Kings. I don't know where I was going with that one. Tanaka, who do you got in this one?
Brother. Well, the Skulkers did lose their first match of the season. Eventually, it happened. They're entering this match down one of their 4 gutter runners. They still have 3, but they did have 4. The Kings managed to hold the Wildwood EU to a tie. And in my opinion, Wildwood EU, although not as fast as the Skulkers, have a very explosive offense and surprisingly more bashy than you would think for the armor value of the team. I think this has the makings of the wildest upset in waiting. If the Kings can really exploit a crippled Skulker squad, they might tack on their first win of the season. That said, Longshanks is healthy, so yeah, I think this will be another one for him to watch, probably another career game for him. I'm going to give my flowers to the Kings by saying it will be a 3-1 loss to the Skulkers.
Wow. That will match 2 other opponents who were able to hold the Skulkers to 3, besides the Chargers and the defeat. So Interesting stuff. Dimitri, what about you?
I'm also, Doc and I share a lot of similar sentiments. That's why we sit at the top of these prediction tables. And in that regard, the Kings have had definitely gained momentum over the course of the season. They've really started to put together something. And I really have to credit their ball control more than anything. They definitely know how to kill the clock, if anything. They haven't quite put together enough to always have a strong drive to result in a score, but they've made it tough in these last couple of weeks for teams to score. But as Tanaka said, Longshank Stilltail is alive, well, and healthy to play in this week's game, and I think that's going to tell the whole story. I'm taking Skulkers 5-0.
All right. Koba.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold you, Chief. These rats kicked my ass, so they're gonna win this 4-0.
I love it. Short, sweet, to the point. Well said. Yeah, for me, I mean, and I hate to predict this so egregiously. However, I've seen the Skulkers throughout this campaign, throughout this season. I've seen their ability to score, and if you remove last week as an outlier, man, this has the potential to be nearly as deadly as San Fran. It has the potential to be as deadly as Orcas. When this squad sees these teams that we now know are towards our bottom half of the table, they run a clinic. So I mean, and sorry, Kings, please prove me wrong. I would love to see it. It's just nothing personal, but I've got 7-0 for the Skulkers.
Things will have to happen, but it's possible. With these
Came
rats,
into the season with
anything's
6
possible.
touchdowns, man. 6 touchdowns was the record coming into the season, and now we're like not even just watching the Skulkers easily put up 6. We're at the point where we're reluctantly predicting it because it's just that reliable for them this season.
Yeah, it's just happened.
If they got a third 7+ shutout game, that'd be like the best record all time for a team, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. By a
I don't
mile.
think any team's posted more than 2 of that.
Yeah,
Of that.
6 was the record for any one team.
Right.
So
They've already put up 2 games beating that this season alone, and they're only 2 touchdowns away from tying the record for single season touchdowns for a team.
Wow.
So I mean, the Skulkers are, regardless of whether they get to lift the trophy at the end, the Skulkers are the most offensively potent team we've seen in league history.
And it'll probably never break. So this one's evergreen, I think. All right, number 69. You got.
I love an underdog. How can I put this delicately for audience here? Fuck, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go wild here. Let's go double digits. Let's go at 10-0.
Oh my god!
Why not? We're already here. We're already in dumb land. Let's go harder into dumb land. Let's do it.
I like the cut of your jib, 69.
Yeah. So yeah, let the Desert Stadium know they're going to need a bigger scoreboard because the ones we provide only go to 8.
That final 10 that just goes back around to 0, right?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
And then
cool.
Then it's a tie. Yeah. If you score too much, it's a tie. It's like a regular blackjack situation you don't want to go over. Alrighty. And next we have the Guttersburg Rebels taking on the Rothlegion Rampage. Now this was my number 1 pick because this is the technical rematch of the season 4 championship, at least the coaching staff as far as we're concerned. So Tanaka, how's this brotherly beatdown go?
This honestly is probably going to be one of the most bizarre matches of the week. I'm going to be honest, I think this is a really hard one to pick, but I had to pull a couple stats and I had to go with my gut a little bit, so I'll just break it down. So 2 pairs of names to watch for in this all-bout match of hybrid teams are Thunderbranch and Sir Reginald. Both, as we mentioned, are superb throw teammate leaders this season. We've already known that both these teams have a very large playbook when it comes to scoring. But on top of that, they both have traditional offensive scoring threats in Tad Lateness and Funk Flint Reaver. So when I'm looking at this match, I'm looking at what they're doing and what results they're producing. Now, trying to get like the tie-breaking point for this one. Guttersburg, when they're held to 1 or less touchdowns, they've lost all 4 of their games. Rothlegion, when they're held to 1 or less touchdowns, they've either lost or tied. So the key here is who can put up a better defensive game. And I think historically, Rothlegion's done a pretty good job of that. But when we're looking at the actual teams, Guttersburg just came off a really rough loss, losing a couple goblins. And overall, their team has way less armor. They're also relatively weaker. They are faster, but we have Tad lateness. We have a bunch of halflings. We have the throw teammate. There's going to be bodies flying everywhere. Rothlegion hasn't really scored more than 2 casualties all season. However, Guttersburg has probably the squishiest roster in the league. So I think the key to this game is 4+ casualties for Rothlegion, which is just enough to get a loss for Guttersburg because all 4 of their losses came on 4+ casualty games. So I'm calling a 2-1 tight game for Rothlegion Rampage. This should be one to watch, honestly.
Yep. Excellent analysis. Dimitri, who you got in this one?
God, it's going to be a madhouse. As it was said, I think bodies all over the place is the simple way of saying it. Both teams excellent in their utilization of big guys throwing small guys. And I think that is going to be what you're going to see a whole lot of. I think this game is going to devolve into something chaotic very quickly. Wish this was the broadcast of the week just because you would not be watching a traditional game of Blood Bowl if you were in attendance for this one. All that in mind, for all the potential that the Rampage have, I think they're just going to try and make chaos of the game ahead of the Rebels, who tend to lean into that a little bit quicker because of their shorter demeanor, as it were. At the end of the day, I think there's a big game-breaking factor, and that is the Flint Reaver bloodline. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, and I think the Rebels have just had enough luck in those situations. And if we're going to pull out random stats about what happens on a week-to-week basis, the Guttersburg Rebels are 3-4. The Guttersburg Rebels have 3 wins, all of them in even-numbered weeks. They have 4 losses, all of those in odd-number weeks.
Yep.
This is an even-number week. The Guttersburg Rebels are going to win this game 2-1.
Yes, I was going to note that too. This season has been win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game.
It has been topsy-turvy for both of these teams, and they have both been just struggling to hang on to playoff spots more than anything. I feel bad for these coaches. They put up a good fight in a lot of situations, and they end up just on the short end of the stick time and time again. I think the Rebels just have a little more momentum in their favor right now.
All right, Koba, who you got?
I deliberated over this one. And in this technical rematch, one that will be awesome to see in person, but I will not be seeing in person, as I have a commitment to going to Caesar's Casino.
What's the code?
Oh, boom, and get 10 free gold.
That's how much gold it was. I wasn't sure.
No, don't worry. Anyway, all that being said, the Rebels are going to take this 2-1. Everyone else said a lot more fancy words than that to get here, but my conclusion's definitively correct.
Yep. I gotta agree with Dimitri and Kobe here. I think, like you said, the Rebels, they have a history this season of being the comeback player of every other week. So after every loss, it's been a get right game for them, and they figured out the formula to getting right. So I think they pull away with this one. Given the increase in skill to Funk Flint Reaver, as well as Sire Reginald wanting to really cement this leaderboard in the third teammate space, I actually have the Rebels pulling away just a little bit more with the 3-1. And I did want to note, like I said earlier, this is the only pick between Tanaka and Dimitri that differs in terms of the winner. So this may be the defining match, and as far as we're concerned, for our pick'ems. So I'm really looking forward to see how this one goes, and it's going to be really sad when it ends in a tie and you both just get a point. But
that's probably what's going to happen. Let's be honest.
It's feeling in the air. I've got it feels like a tie situation. But I gotta ride the Rebels just a little bit harder. But all right, and our special guest, you want to kick us off here. Give us your pick, and then we'll let you get to the matches this evening.
Bring up.
Yes, I can hear that very well.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you can, I bet. See, I think that these two teams are going to be a tie. Before you even brought it up, I was like, going to be a 2-2. These two blended of throwing their little guys. As much as I disagree with the concept of throwing littles, I think a nice 2-2 would really make this perfectly, yes.
All right. Well, thank you for your inputs in this slightly unorthodox episode of Wartscenter. Anything else from the desk before we conclude the show?
Good luck.
Hope to see you all catching tonight's game between the Brainwave Blitzers and the Charges. It will be a very fun game for everyone to watch, I assure you.
Remember to use the code BOOM to get 10 free gold.
God.
Boom.
Spam
Yeah,
it
we'll
in the
talk
chat
about that later.
tonight.
Yep.
Spam boom in tonight's
In the
broadcast.
If you watched
Well, there you go.
if you watched Wartscenter, type boom in the chat during the live Twitch stream, and we'll know you know ball. All right, I'm ending this. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tonight.